The hacker right now is signed into my account as it's showing 2 sessions where I'm logged in. The hacker is logged in as Motorola with a small m. Oh, he just changed the view. I didn't touch anything. I pointed at it, but I wasn't anywhere near the screen. And just now, same thing. This is how far away my thumb is from the screen. I'm just indicating, but not touching. But he has twice changed what was on the screen when all I did was point. Just did it again. So this is the hacker doing all these actions in my account when my thumb is this far away from my phone, and all I'm doing is just indicating. So apparently, I was going to say apparently just my pointing at things activates it, but now I'm pointing at things and it's not activating anything. So the hacker is on a device somewhere, logged in as me, and just changing things as I'm recording. Where I'm signed in to 2 devices, and he keeps changing the view. I'm selecting protect your account and where you're signed in. And we saw that I was signed in to 2 devices, and now he keeps changing what's happening. I recently took the noon medicine, which even before they started giving me chemical restraints, the pharmacy used some kind of fillers or additives in their medicine that would coat my mouth and throat and make my voice like this. They just use inferior quality, unknown ingredients that are independent. As I said, that was happening before they started drugging me with chemical restraints instead of my actual medicines I'm prescribed. But back to what the hacker is doing right now. We'll go back one more time to protect your account. And notice all of the damage on my Samsung phone right here. There's new cracks, and when I regained consciousness from many hours of being drugged unconscious today, somebody had rolled up my sheet. I had it stretched over my bed, and somebody had rolled it up right up to my body, so it was formed around my body, and there was a little black piece of something beside my hip that turned out to be a flake off of this phone. Someone once again had been removing the protective coating from the phone, just the shiny black stuff that covers the matte black finish, matte black being the non-shiny, and you can see where the shiny stuff ends here and where the matte stuff is, and you can see where some more stuff has been cut off of the shiny stuff, and a piece of that was on my hip, next to my hip, on my sheet that someone had changed from it being spread out, straightened out, and as I said, rolled it up right next to my body. But back to recording this. As usual, I'm rambling because of the chemical restraints that make it difficult to stay on track with what I'm saying. So where you're signed in. And now the hacker is just preventing looking at that. So I'll change hands here. I'll put my Motorola phone in my left hand, the one I'm recording this with. And we'll go back to security recommendations. I'm in my account, my main account. We're going to go again to protect your account. We're going to go again to where you're signed in. 2 sessions on Android phones. And one of them is Motorola twice. The second one is with a small M, and the word one is in a small O, 5G UW. They signed in 12 minutes ago on an Android device, and they're using my Color Note. Color Note is one of the applications I use along with email, excuse me, and record my thoughts about my experiences. I keep diaries of the what the criminals are doing here in Millbrae, and I keep diaries about everything. I'm a writer. I do a lot of work, so I use Color Note and my email accounts for all kinds of writing. I write biographies of people for family history. I've done a lot of family history research and written quite a number of biographies. I've created Wikipedia pages, and then I've just written things to people that I care about, family members and so forth. And all of this personal stuff that I do, everything that I do is accessible to the hacker and the people that the hacker has given access to my accounts. He has allowed a number of people to hack into my accounts. He's put whatever software might have been required, or maybe he just, logged them in on their phone as me. It's identity theft. It's invasion of privacy. It's difficult for there to be a more maximum degree of invasion of privacy because they see everything that I photograph, everything that I video record, everything that people send me, all of the communications that I have. Excuse me. They know my contacts, they know my phone calls in and out, they know everything I write and everything that's written to me. Complete invasion of my privacy. That's why computer crimes are investigated by the FBI and prosecuted by the Department of Justice, as well as district attorneys, attorneys general of states. And there are very significant penalties for computer crimes and identity theft, precisely because it is such an invasion. So anyway, here's the hacker, or someone that the hacker has given access to my account, and they're also a hacker. They may not have originated the hacking. Milbray hired a particular person to hack my phones, to know everything that I'm recording, documenting the criminal activities in Milbray, all of the abuse against myself and other patients, all of my writing about it, all of my photographs and videos about it. So Milbray responded to my posting videos to YouTube by hiring the hacker, and the first person that tested it out was the night supervisor of nursing, Elizabeth. It's the first time that I ever saw that woman or knew anything about her. I think she had just started working at Milbray. She came to my room around 6 a.m. and woke me to give me 6 a.m. medicine, was extremely rude, and unknown to me at the time until I watched the video months later. It was dark in my room at 6 a.m. It wasn't the time of year when it's light outside at 6 a.m. Unknown to me, she had her cell phone in her hand and was recording this entire thing. So that was a huge invasion of my privacy, recording a patient in bed. No one is allowed to record a patient or photograph a patient without the patient's written authorization, which I've never given to anyone. I've never given any medical facility, any doctor, anyone, any consent to photograph me. I protect my private, my patient confidentiality. I choose when to publish my photograph or anything about me. So Milbray and all of its agents are violating that. They're violating HIPAA laws, which there are significant penalties associated with that as well, because patient privacy is something that is highly protected. Privacy and confidentiality about personal information and medical information are highly protected. So these people are violating that. The hacker, as I started to say, the first time that I became aware that the facility had hired this hacker was when that supervisor of nursing, the night supervisor of nursing, Elizabeth, came to my room, woke me, was extremely rude, refused to leave my room. I left my room so she would leave my room. And then I went back into my room and she kept opening my door until I just completely lost my temper because the woman would not leave me alone and she was acting mental. When she left my room, she unnecessarily brushed against me and then leaned up against me and said things into my ear just entirely unnecessarily. It was just bizarre behavior, and I didn't know until I watched the video months later. As I said, I didn't know she was recording the whole thing on her cell phone, and I also didn't know that there was a woman I'd never seen before and I've never seen since, sitting on a chair in the hallway opposite my room, off to the side so she could get a good view of everything. If she had been directly behind the nurse, say in a patient room or doorway straight across the hall from me, she wouldn't have had as good a view as she did sitting where she did on this chair a little off to the side from the doorway. Then that's how I became aware that Elizabeth was very strange, and I started recording encounters with her and all kinds of people because of the constant physical abuse and harassment that were happening, verbal abuse, and just every kind of abuse was happening And so every time I left my room, I'd have my phone in my hand and I'd be recording, just to try and protect myself. I went outside of my room to get hand sanitizer one night, and when I went to get the hand sanitizer, which is in a dispenser right next to my door to the hallway, it's right there in the hallway outside my door, there was a rolling cart, a 2-shelf rolling cart, and on the cart was a tray with a bunch of sandwiches on it. They bring sandwiches and snacks out if they choose to. They don't do it all the time, and they stopped doing it for a couple of months. So patients are hungry and asking for food, and the facility doesn't give it to us. But anyway, there was a cart of sandwiches sitting out next to the door to room 21, or excuse me, room 20, which is the room next to mine that shares my bathroom. And I went back into my room and dried my hands, and then I thought, I'm kind of hungry, I think I'll go get a sandwich. They're just sitting there in the hallway, and I went outside, and the cart was still there. I looked around. I was recording this. I was looking around. I didn't see a staff member anywhere. And then I reached out to take a sandwich, and suddenly Elizabeth's there. I don't know where she came from, and she knocks my arm away. She hits my arm to knock my arm away, and she says to me, "What do you want?" She presses her palms of her hands on every sandwich on the tray. She quickly does this, just one after the other. Both her hands presses them on every sandwich on the tray. And when she asked me, "What do you want?" I said, "I want to choose something without you getting your hands all over it." And she hit me again. And then I said, "You hit me." She took hold of the cart. There were handles on either side at the top of the cart. She took hold of the cart and she ran it right into me. She came straight at me, hit my legs with it, then she went around me and ran, literally ran, through the hallway towards the east, and then through the east hallway, all the way to the front nurse's station where she put the cart of sandwiches that were intended to go to the back nurse's station for people in the back hallway to eat. She put it inside the nurse's station so that patients couldn't get it, and I recorded the entire thing. It was 5 minutes and 47 seconds, I think, and then all of a sudden the recording stopped, but I didn't stop it, and I thought, why did the recording stop? Then, while I was busy doing that, suddenly a big black bin, open and overflowing with stinking bedding, just the bedding of incontinent patients who had gone on their bedding, and patients that were nauseous and got sick on their bedding. So this bedding is overflowing. The bin is left open because it's overflowing and stinking up the entire hallway. And I'm recording this, and I go into my room and I'm recording, talking about this, and I'm getting my thoughts together about calling 911 to report Elizabeth hitting me. And suddenly my bathroom door right there opens. And there's a CNA I've never seen before who opened my door into my bedroom without knocking, had no business doing that whatsoever. And I scolded her and I asked, "What is your name?" And she told me, "I don't have a name." And I asked her, "Where's your ID badge?" She said, "I don't need a badge." And she went running, walking quickly. She walked quickly away towards the back nurse's station and disappeared around the corner. And in the meantime, as I was following her, I couldn't keep up with her because I'm not able to walk that fast. I'm disabled. By the time I got to the nurse's station, I found an elderly, disabled, dementia patient in her wheelchair, trapped against the desk with a filing cabinet against the back of her wheelchair, holding her pressed up against the desk. I was in shock. Elizabeth was supposed to be there. That's the back nurse's station. She's the supervisor. There was no one in sight, no staff member. I recorded all of this. I video recorded the whole thing. And then I tried to find a staff member, and I couldn't. And then Elizabeth shows up eventually about 10 minutes later and starts scolding me about being inside the nurse's station. Well, I was inside the nurse's station recording what was happening, recording the patient being pressed in her wheelchair against the desk and no staff anywhere. And then Elizabeth was acting insane. She was saying she was going to call the police on me after she was the one that hit me and rolled a cart into my legs. By the way, I was black and blue from that. And she goes and she hides inside of a room and closes the door. And then she says, "Cuckoo," like a cuckoo clock. And then she keeps opening the door and peeking out to see if I'm still there and closing the door. Meanwhile, some man I've never seen before suddenly shows up out of nowhere, and he's standing behind me, and when I turn around, he's right there beside me, and he's on his phone, and he's pressing buttons on his phone, and he's busy. And then when Elizabeth comes out of the room where she was hiding, he mutters something to her about he sent her a text, and she mutters back she saw it. And then she says she's going to call the police about me harassing her. And he tells her the non-emergency number. He's got it memorized. And he's dressed like he thinks he's a cop, or he used to be a cop. He's dressed all in black. He's got police officer style shoes on. And he's on his phone. And when I get back to my room, I discovered that my two videos, the one of Elizabeth hitting me and rolling the cart into me and running away with the cart of sandwiches, that video's gone. And the video of the CNA opening the door into my room and telling me she doesn't have a name and she doesn't need a badge, and the overflowing stinking bin, and her walking away, that video was deleted. So 2 videos of Millbrae employees committing crimes were gone. They had just vanished from my phone, and subsequently, I think it was the next day, that same male employee, or I presumed he was an employee, he may be a contractor, I don't know, he